home to the hopeless soul. I know you wonder, trying to find your way back home. I came from yonder, breaking home to the hopeless soul. I know you wonder, trying to find your way back home. 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 Find your way back home.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Village Rising Community. It's a pleasure and a honor of mine to debut my appearance on the Village Rising Community. I want to say a special thanks to Mr. Wayne Glapian for having me on. And my name is Tosinga. I am an Afro Soul, Afro folk singer-songwriter based in Atlanta, Georgia, originally from Nigeria, Yoruba tribe of Nigeria. And it's a pleasure of mine to facilitate a very wonderful conversation tonight. We are going to be talking about Village Gumbo, music of the diaspora. And it's such a pleasure of mine to interview, or more so to facilitate a conversation between myself and two worthy legends of African music in the diaspora. We have tonight Baba Luther Gray, all the way from New Orleans. And yes, that's Baba Luther Gray. Yeah. Welcome to the episode of Village Gumbo on Village Rising Community. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good seeing you all. Good seeing you.
Yes. For those who don't know you, I'm just going to give a little run through of your bio. You've been very active in the New Orleans arts community since 1984. You co-founded the Congo Square Foundation in 1989, which is now called the Congo Square Preservation Society. And this society has been instrumental in the resurrection of drumming and cultural activities in the Congo Square. And the Congo Square Foundation has been successful in placing Congo Square on the National Register of Historic Places. I'm going to let you tell us more about the Congo Square Foundation, but most I want to mention that you founded two major musical groups, the Percussion Incorporated in 1985 and the Bambula 2000 in 1994. You produced 7 CDs with these two groups. And your resume just goes on and on and on. Anyway, I'm going to leave that to you to tell us more about. But I'm going to bring on our second host of tonight, Alexi Marti, all the way from Cuba to New Orleans. Alexi, welcome to tonight's show. It's a pleasure to have you. How are you doing tonight? Just a little bit about you also. You were born in Havana, Cuba. You started playing the congas when you were young, about 7 years old. You are inspired by the Afro-Cuban religious ceremonies celebrated in your grandparents' house. And since you were a teenager, you've been a composer, a band leader. You've gone through a lot of formal percussion studies, and the list goes on. You went to University of New Orleans jazz program for your bachelor's degree. You had a concentration in percussion and piano. And you also founded the Nola's On-Demand Latin Funk Fusion Quintet. Your music crosses between the folkloric and musical traditions of Cuba, meshed with the spiritual bata drumming of West Africa. And definitely, it is most appropriate to have you on tonight's discussion where we're talking about African music in the diaspora. So welcome once again. How's your day been?
Great. Luther, how you doing, Luther?
I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. You're welcome. So Baba Luther, we're gonna start with you. Tell us more about your journey and your affiliation with African music and bringing it to New Orleans and being so prominent in the preserving of African cultural music in New Orleans.
Well, thank you. My father was a musician. He was born in Georgia in the early 1900s, and he migrated to Chicago in the early 1900s. He played the alto saxophone and the clarinet. So I'm named after my dad. My mother, she was from Mississippi. She migrated from Mississippi to Chicago. And so I come from a creative family. But with me, when I was born, I liked bongos. I like playing with my hands. I like percussions and things like that. And I was like in the 1960s when the conga drums that came out, and you had Master Henry Gibson with Curtis Mayfield. You had Babatunde Olatunji. You had all this music that started coming around from Africa, and it really became very large in the United States as far as the black arts and black power movements of the 60s. So I'm kind of a child of that time. And ironically, I moved to New Orleans in 1982. I was applying for a job in Chicago, and they said they had a hiring freeze. Would I be willing to relocate? They had openings in Louisiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. So I said, well, New Orleans. So I got here. I didn't know anybody. But the first thing when I got here, I had read about Congo Square in high school. And so my mission was, where is Congo Square? And that's how everything started with me. So what I've learned just being around in Congo Square over these last 30, almost 40 years now, and what I learned about being in New Orleans is that New Orleans is probably one of the most African cities in North America. You know, as a matter of fact, the indigenous people here, the Indians, they were black. You had the Choctaw, the Chitimachi, the Chapatulas. And these Indians were brown-skinned Indians. They weren't like just red complexion. They were black too because they were part of what they call West Florida. You know, and you also had the black Indians, of course, in Florida as well. So African people were part of the diaspora as they migrated from Africa across to the Americas, and then made their way up from Brazil all the way to South America and into the Americas as well. And so then when the French came to this area and claimed this area for France and stole it from the indigenous people, the first slave ships that came, I think the first 2 slave ships came, they brought people here from Benin, West Africa. Yes. And then from that point on, Africans were brought here from over 19 different African nations. And I'll talk about those later as we get into it. And so, so in the early 1700s, African was reintroduced to African people in addition to the indigenous people. And so I think that's why New Orleans has such a rich culture, because under the French, Spanish, and Portuguese, they did not outlaw drumming and dancing like it was done under the English colonies. So people here weren't going to stop drumming, dancing, and paying homage to their ancestors anyway, but they could do it on Sundays. And so that's how that tradition that we have in Congo Square started, and it continues till today.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I can tell that, Brother Alexi, you're very familiar with Baba Luther also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, how did you meet?
Say it again?
I said, how did you meet him? Did you meet at Congo Square, or what's the connection?
Well, to say the truth, I never knew about Congo Square.
I'm trying to remember that myself.
Yeah, I never knew about that place until I moved to New Orleans. You know, we don't have a knowledge about Congo Square. We didn't know about Congo Square. So because nobody artists from history. Right? Now, in recent years, yes, got a lot of people, musicians who have been playing, visiting. So now there's more people have more knowledge about Congo Square. But you know, because of Cuba, we have pretty much a Congo Square in every place. You almost a Congo Square. Okay?
Right.
Sugar
That's
cane.
right.
Yeah, sugar cane. So, and because Cuba was on the Spain colony, the Spain allowed black people to play, but they don't allow to sing.
Just a minute. Your sound is going in and out. I can hear you clearly. Did you have earpiece on? Do you have an
Yes.
earpiece on? I
Let me
think maybe
know.
the earpiece might be because it's going in and out. I can really hear you clearly.
You hear me now?
Yeah, you keep talking.
So, in Cuba, because in Cuba we have,
Let's see.
we were uh, Cuba black people, enslaved can play, but they're not allowed to sing. So they have one day they can play in the plantation, you know what I mean? But not like here, they're allowed to, the slave to go to the Congo Square, Plaza, and perform. No, everybody was in the same plantation, allowed to play in the plantation. You know, Sunday was the day they allowed that people, to pray and play and that kind of stuff. But, Cuba, that's the way it was in Cuba. Like almost all Latin Caribbean area. Understand?
The sound keeps going in and out.
You hear me now?
It's not too clear.
Sit close. Sit
Are you
close.
using your computer's mic?
Yeah, close to the mic. I'm cool.
You're using your computer's mic, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's clearer. The yes you just said now, actually, I could hear it clearer.
You hear me perfect?
Yeah. Now I can hear you. Maybe because you moved closer or something.
Yes. Mike. Turn the mic. You hear me now?
Turn your volume up.
I hear. Hello. You hear me now?
Yeah.
It's okay?
I hear you.
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You can keep talking.
Perfect. So in Cuba was like that. Cuba, we have too many. In Cuba was too many plantations, real like sugar cane. You know. So and they allow black slaves to play. So in Cuba, we don't have like in Cuba, Spain killed every Indian. Cuba, India was way back. They raped everybody because the sugar cane. The Indian wasn't ready for that strong word. So that's the reason Cuba was full was Africa. But the Spain people killed pretty much every Indian, every Indian. So that's what was Cuba.
Okay. Oh wow. While we sort out that, I'm just gonna go back to Baba Luther now. I know that you have visited some African countries, right, Baba Luther? Which countries did you visit? Can you tell us about that?
I've
And
been to Ghana, West Africa. I think I've been there like 4 times. I've been to Benin, West Africa once, and I've been to South Africa one time. So,
oh wow. Did you go?
so
What did you go there to do? What did you go for a concert or what was the
I came with Dr. Morris FX Jeff Senior, Junior. I'm sorry. This is like in the late 1990s. He was organizing trips for African Americans to go to Ghana, and so we went as a tour group. But there were a lot of artists and creative people. We also went for Panafest. Panafest is like the big festival in Ghana. So one of those years we were able to perform at Panafest as well. We had Sonny Patterson with us. We had the Guardians of the Flame were with us. I was there. We got together with Ghanaian drummers and dancers, and it was just an experience that it was just so beautiful. It was a lot of people there from Jamaica. I mean, the whole diaspora was in Ghana for that Panda Fest. And so that was really a chance to really see, like it was a homecoming, a homegoing, you know, and I think it was so beautiful for us to see young people who were so excited about their education, and they would like write these really great little letters to you, and they really wanted you to give them something like some money or a pencil or some paper or something like that. But they had taken all this time to really write these little letters, and I was like, wow, education is so important. You know,
Yes,
that
it is.
they were so bright and they were so enthusiastic to talk about and share cultures between the Americas and of course Africa.
Mm. And did you see any similarities as to how things are done at the Congo Square and what you experienced when you went to like the Ghana and South Africa? What were the similarities to affirm the fact that cultural preservation took place down generations? You know,
I
what were
think
the similarities?
I think what we saw was the hospitality of the people. You know, like in New Orleans, everybody speaks to everybody. You know, you know when you come to New Orleans, it's not like being in Chicago or New York where you don't speak. When you pass
Mm,
somebody in New Orleans, you say good afternoon, good morning, good evening. You know, you speak to people, and that was the way it was in Africa. They said Aquaba,
yeah.
Aquaba. You know, like so people are right. You know, so then it's so easy to strike up a conversation because Ghana being an English speaking language, it was easy for us as well. But I think it was like the hospitality, the
Mm,
food, because New Orleans has a very African centered food, with rice and peas and gumbo and everything, and that was true of African food as well. And it was just like when we got a chance to play drums and dance together, right away we found a common approach. So it wasn't very hard to even to be creative, and so that was always so impressive to me.
yeah. So the sense of community through food, through music, through dance. You
Right.
carried that from Africa to New Orleans and it's still
Yes.
continuing on at the
Yes.
Congo Square. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, looks like Brother Alex is back. Are we all sorted with the sound now? So you tell me more about Cuba and the African culture that's prominent, especially through the music there, and how you are being the music ambassador, so to speak, of African music, of Afro-Cuban music. What is the Afro part of the Cuban music?
Well, we have to go to the culture. The culture is the Cuban music. Uh, Cuba, we have many. But the question you asked me, no?
Come closer. What did you say?
What is the question you asking me?
Yeah, tell us more about Cuban music and the African influence on Cuban music and how
Oh,
you are
well,
being.
well, this. Cuba is a small island, the Caribbean, that we have too many rhythms created from Cuba. We have cha-cha-cha, danzón, rumba, guaracha, son, uh, Mozambique, uh, changui. Uh, it's too many. The Cuban uh, music spectrum is huge because we have too many influences, not only from Africa, of course, but we got two Asian into the Cuban music as well. You cannot talk about this music without mentioning Haitian because we got a big population of Haitian people went to Cuba, so we got Haitian roots as well, the music, the Cuban music. But it's, it's huge. It's huge because, like I say, it's not only conga, timbale, congo, we got bata. So in Cuba, we're practicing Nigerian African rhythm.
Mhm.
In Cuba is very famous for the ritual. The mix, they call it Santeria. That is Nigerian religion. So that's very important in Cuban music, Bata drums is very important. So
Mm.
technically, we are very, very, very high developed skill because
Mm.
we got too many things that we took from Africa and we developed, you know, and it's it's incredible. No many,
Yeah.
no many, nobody in the Caribbean have Bata, only us, and we become Africa ambassador, particularly
Yes.
from Nigeria. We become the ambassador of African music, the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
People are here in the United States, in New York, a lot of people went down there and teach everybody how to play conga, how to play bata. You know what I mean? That was very, 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 very good.
It's interesting how I know the djembe seems to be like the most popular African percussion instrument. When people hear Africa, they think drumming automatically. I mean, well, they think safari too, but in terms of the music, they think drums. And it's interesting how the African instruments uh, are named or even structured after the familial structure. You know, you talked about bata as like the father, or yailu, the mother, and they have the baby drums. Can you see the correlation between naming of the drums or building of the drums according to how community is supposed to be built? So you can even see culture in music, or you can see subliminal messages in our tools, in our musical instruments, right?
Yes.
You want to tell us about the different types of drums that we have? That I think you said the origin is where I'm from. I'm from the Yoruba tribe. So when you said bata, that rang a bell. I remember seeing drummers on the streets of my town where I grew up, you know, playing, you know, is a staple on the streets. It's not just when you have a ceremony like a wedding or a funeral, just a daily, just the way it's like therapy. You know, you're just walking on the streets and the drummers are drumming. You're going to the marketplace, you see drummers drumming. So can you tell me more about how you got introduced to the art of drumming, and then the types of drum that you are more inclined towards? You know, you can play the bata, right? You play the bata.
Yes.
You play the bata. Can you play all types of drums? You play the yailu. You play all that too.
No, I can say that because there's too many. The
There are many of them. Yes.
family are the world population. It's this is something that a lot of people don't want to understand. But drum is it's all like before everybody any instrument before was drum. Every country you go, they have a particular drum. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So, but I can play bata, I can play bongo, even percussion. That's in my main strong. It's pure percussion and of course bata, bata, bata. Uh, okay, but I have to say that when you was child, you was listening people playing around. This thing happened to me in Cuba. You walking down the street, you're walking, any the street, you're gonna find out somebody with religious purpose celebrating his birthday or his celebration in the Republic. You're gonna hear the tambora. You're gonna hear many times that you walking down the street, Havana. You always gonna hear drums. Period. You always gonna hear drums.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we are. And
That's who we are.
the one thing that I'm really happy Luther does is Luther introduced to to the world, to the world, because Luther did something very important. Luther made sure that every Sunday people play drum, and Luther created a culture 40 years from now, how many good percussion is going to come out from that? Because the parents are going to teach them. The beginning was like a, hey, have fun later. People, did erase the whole community. People, every Sunday playing with them. So a lot of kids is going to see that as an influential. The same way I do our classes. You said people in my house, my grandmother playing. It's a passing generation. You know, it's something very important. We can help you something, and it's related to me because in the way I do our was like that.
I see.
I go into my grandma's house, they're playing. I go into my house, my aunt's house, they play. Sometimes we have to go to celebrate my uncle friend birthday in Mauritius. We're gonna celebrate a widow. Not to play. So it's like that all the time.
Part of your everyday life. That's awesome. That's awesome. Baba Luther, I see that is that a kalimba you have there?
Yeah, I got a
Tell me
kalimba.
about it.
Okay. I I fell in love with the kalimba in Chicago. There was a great musician there. His name is Phil Coran. Phil Coran studied with, of course, with Sun Ra. But Phil Coran, he created his own. So, and there was like Earth, Wind, and Fire picked up on the kalimba with Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White. And so he really made a very popular instrument of the kalimba with Earth, Wind, and Fire. But really, the African thumb piano comes from the Mbira. This is from South Africa. So so this is really this is how the African thumb piano evolved out of the Mbira. So it's just amazing. It's just amazing that the ingenuity of African people to create these instruments,
Yes.
So I've always loved. I love playing the congas, the bongos, the kalimba, the djembe, all the things that I was exposed to. Coming from Chicago.
Which one's your favorite? What's your favorite percussion instrument? Which one's your dominant one?
My favorite instrument to play is I love playing the djembe drum. So
Djembe is your favorite?
The djembe. This is my favorite drum right here.
Can you play us something?
Yeah, I'll try to play something. I hope it doesn't shut down the sound.
Okay. Wow.
So
I always say that if someone doesn't move at the sound of a beat of a drum, there's something wrong with them.
exactly.
Do you agree with me?
Yes. It's drums. The thing about Africa as well is that all the drumming in Africa is language. So, like you said, you were just saying earlier how people play when they play the djembe, when they play the drums and sing the songs and do the dances, it's all about their culture, about their deities, their religions, their family, and it's about communication. It's about your mind, your body, and your soul. And so I think that's the gift that African people have given the world, because we're the first people on the planet. The earliest remains of human beings were found in South Africa. So on the whole planet Earth, the earliest human beings came out of Africa.
Oh yes,
right?
definitely. Definitely.
So
Yes.
I think it's our time again after all these thousands of years. I think it's our time again. What do you think?
Oh yes, it's happening already. It's happening. Even all the Western musical instruments are derived from all these instruments you're showing me. I think I had like the xylophone is a derivation of the balafon. I think it's called
Yes, right.
balafon, and even jazz and blues all come from African music,
Yes,
and gospel also. With the chants, with the call and response. So even a cappella, our harmonies. Have you ever listened to how South African harmonies are? It's just out of this world. Like the
oh
South
yeah,
African melodies and harmonies is a different level, you
yes,
know. So things like that over time become fused. And
yes,
even African musicians, they say they come back. Okay, so a very prominent African music figure, Fela Kuti, when he traveled to the West, with his relationship with Sarah, an African American lady, Sandra Isadore, influenced his perspective and way of thinking. That's when he decided to fuse what we call African American music, jazz, with African music and became Afrobeats. You understand? He studied the likes of the name escapes me. I'm Black and Proud. What's the name of the guy who said? I'm the guy who screams. What's his name? Uh,
he's from the United
Say it
States.
loud. And Black and Proud. Yeah.
James
Uh,
Brown, yeah,
James
yeah,
Brown. I'm sorry. James Brown's
yeah,
name just skipped me. Yeah. So, James Brown. In fact, when James Brown visited Nigeria, it was collaboration with Fela Kuti, So there's been that African musicians and African American musician collaboration over time. When Miriam Makeba, Mama Africa, relocated to the US, and when she fled apartheid in South Africa, she collaborated with Harry Belafonte, things there's been a lot of collaborations down the line like that. Have you collaborated with any African musician in your projects?
yes, I have. I've collaborated with Saginaw Kone. He lives here in New Orleans. He's from the Ivory Coast. Uh, I've collaborated. I'm trying to think of some of the other collaborations. They'll come to me. But pretty much, I've been collaborating with African musicians who are here in the United States. I haven't had really many opportunities to collaborate internationally, so I look forward to that.
That'll be awesome. How about you, Alexi?
In my first in my album, I collaborated with one of the greatest NBA players, uh, Willie Raymond. He's a really good
Oh, Willie Brima. Yeah, I
so
know
he's
him.
a great
Yeah.
one to collaborate. We did a travessia, and the second one, Mundo, he played Palenque. He played the tenor. So
Mm-hmm.
we did a good
That's
album.
awesome.
So yeah, I got him the new one. I was trying to move around.
Mm-hmm. So when we had a pre conversation, you talked about one of your songs, Travesia, and your explanation and your vision that birthed the song was so powerful. I don't want to give it away. I want you to share it with us. Just tell us about your track Travesia and what inspired that track.
Well, like I say, knowing my history, knowing the history of the people who look like me, uh, when you know about all the situation, uh, when you know the whole, when you can imagine what those people went through being the bottom of the ship,
Mm,
um, many of them died. Those people went from mountain And I will try. One thing I like to do when I write songs, I like to write stories. I like to describe. I like to describe what I see, and it's been like that since I wrote any song that I'm able to do. I wish I tried to describe what I see, what I smell, everything. It's a picture. So I'll move with that song, with that beat. So I decided to tell everybody, this bass line, do this. The piano, once you play like this, it's gonna be like a wave, water. The melody, and if you play in this style like this, because you're gonna reflect the melancholy, the sadness of these people. They, 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 they kidnap those people from their own land to, to a known land. They don't know what they're going to be into. They don't know what they're going to, they don't know. And I was able to, yeah, I used the drum as a, like this, real upbeat. At the same time, you be like, you move into something you know. When you go into somebody, when you go in any place, any human being, going to a place that you don't know, you heartbeat racing. You be like anxious, like, what is this? What is this? So that's exactly what I was trying to do with the
Mm.
whole drum. The blues. It's like this, greasing, greasing, the piano, the everything. It become like when you listen to the song and you read what I'm trying to explain, you oh, so
Mm.
I think that we did a good job trying to describe the whole journey from Africa to America. That's pretty much
That's
how we
beautiful.
try to do it.
That's beautiful. I think it's spiritual too. So, with your music, how do you want your audience to feel after listening to your music? What's the impact that you want to make with your music?
Educated,
Educate.
most important, educated. I want people to
Okay.
have knowledge what is what is behind this music. And we as a creative spend a lot of time, particularly with the type of music that we do. We
Mm-hmm.
don't do it junky music. We don't do music for we do music from analogy to technology. What makes
Mm.
sense? What I, from my analogy, I want to use, I want to give you this. This is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. You know what I mean? So you can
Mm.
understand what I'm trying to explain. We use it
Mm-hmm.
music as a language, like a real language. Look,
Mm.
listen to this. Not
Mm.
from commercial standpoint, as a culture, as a, as a message. So
Mm.
I want the people to be educated, and I want the people to be grateful because I'm grateful for the thing I learned. You know, people like good, like good people that teach. Everybody got to teach something. I learned from
Mm.
others, and that's the message for the people that's
Mm-hmm.
know. Those people later on they're gonna have the message. It's like
Mm. That's powerful. Mm. Thank you for that. And Baba Luther, I mean, during this pandemic times, knowing that the activities of the Congo Square, it's gathering based. How have you been able to manage? And I know it would have been a beautiful form of therapy for people to come out and continue singing, dancing, drumming. During the pandemic, how did that work out?
Well, we uh, we started back drumming in Congo Square the first Sunday of uh, of 2020. Like the pandemic broke out in March or something. So we started gathering outside in Congo Square because we were outside. We were socially distant. People had masks on, and so we just felt that we could gather and carry on our traditions. And so over for the last year, the gatherings have grown and grown and grown. And
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, the past 2 Sundays, 3 Sundays, we've had dance companies join us, African drum and dance as well. And I think not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend, Delphio Marcellus is having a festival in Congo Square. I think it's the 8th of August. It's the not this Sunday, but next Sunday from 1 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock. It's called Jazz in Congo Square, featuring Delphio Marcellus and the Uptown Orchestra. So things are coming back. And Barry, my good friend Barry Payton, he joins us. He's in the chat. He comes out every Sunday. So we have a beautiful community of people. We drum, we dance, we honor the ancestors. And I just can't wait for you to come to New Orleans and perform with us in New Orleans in concert and also with us in Congo Square.
That would be awesome. You're really doing the work of the Lord, because you're literally a healer. That's what you're doing at the Congo Square, because music, of course, we all know is healing. And I'm sure, people coming out, I'm sure people have come out that have been depressed or desperate, but after just having that time of sharing in music, they didn't leave the same way they came. You understand? So God bless you for what you're doing.
As a matter of fact, we call it church. We have Congo Square is our church. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what's going on out there. A lot of healing, food for the mind, the body, and soul, and a lot of community building as well. And that's so important right now, because we're really facing the city of New Orleans efforts to try to move City Hall to Municipal Auditorium, sitting in Congo Square. So it seems like the mayor says she doesn't necessarily have to make City Hall move to Municipal Auditorium or Congo Square, but she said, whatever we're going to do, if they can't have a City Hall in our own community, we need to raise the money to really make what we want to see happen in that park a reality. So this is going to really be a great opportunity for us as an African American culture community, a root culture community, and just everybody in New Orleans to come together to bring our cultures together in New Orleans, and all the links that we have to the Caribbean, to Cuba, to Haiti, to Brazil, to all throughout Africa. If we get all this together and unite with the African diaspora, I think this would be a time on the planet Earth. It'd be like a renaissance for indigenous people on the planet. I really look forward to the challenges that we have before us. So I always invite people to come out and join us Sunday at 3 o'clock. We got some drums. If you got a drum, bring them. But everybody's welcome, and it's a very healing situation out there. Thank you.
Are the young people involved that can carry on this tradition? Are you involving the youth, the teenagers in the community? Are they involved? Yes. Do they come out?
Yeah, we this past 2 weeks ago, we had the Silhouette Dance Company, and they had like a whole week of dance workshops. And they did Congolese dances with Tito Sampos. They did Brazilian dances. They did, of course, they had Haitian dances and African dances. And so they were like all girls, and I think from age like 7 years old to like 16 or 17. And it was just so beautiful. It was them dancing and their teachers out there with them. So we need to do more work with that, the intergenerational piece. You're right. We need to do more work to make sure our young people are part of this, and so that they can carry on this tradition, because we can, the way I got it was, I got it when I was young. So we have to keep sharing this with young people and see what they're going to bring to it. They got their own styles now that are unique to their own generations. So thank you for bringing that up. So we encourage everybody to encourage and bring out your young people. You got drums for them to play. They don't have a drum, we have a drum for them. So that's always available.
That's awesome. Just one last question for Alexi. I want you to talk more about, I think there's a comment in the chat window about you being Afro-Cuban. You have a lot of contribution, to the diaspora musically. First of all, are there a lot of Afro-Cubans in New Orleans where you are? Is there a community of Afro-Cubans?
No.
Not many.
No.
Wow.
No. No, no, no.
So you have a lot of work to do to share with us your culture, you know.
Yeah,
So
because most Latin people who live here, uh, they're not into the music. You know, they're not from. We are in this city. We have a lot of Central American people. We, and not many are Garafan.
mm,
They're not from the Pacific side. The people are from California. Not too many California Honduran people. They're not into the music. Most of the American people are here. So probably Latin America, and not too many Cubans. So
mm.
it's a,
Oh wow. But in your performance that you've been performing a lot, like post pandemic, you have some performances coming up where we can come and check
I will be on Atlanta Yacht Fest in September 55th.
nice. I'll be
I'll be
there.
headlining, closing on the stage, and yeah, this is the I'm gonna be playing the fundraisers here on, on August 11, 13 with the great actor Andy Garcia from Cuba who played percussion. I don't know if you remember Andy Garcia.
Oh. Is all this information on your website that we can check out?
Well, I need to do that work again on my website because pretty much website right now are almost obsolete. Everybody is
Oh,
straight on Facebook,
yeah,
on Instagram, on Twitter. You know, the
yeah.
website right now is just to put who you are. To know about everything you do, have to go to social media.
Mhm. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the comments. Someone was saying that there's a lot of history through the slave trade in New Orleans that come directly from Havana.
It's true.
You agree? You agree with
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
because the governor of Louisiana was the governor from Havana. The Havana governor was the governor of Louisiana.
Mm.
Hey, a lot of slaves, a lot of, by the way, a lot of slaves in Havana, they stayed first in Cuba, they later sent to here. And there are a lot of rich families from Havana here.
Mm.
A lot of people here have descent from Cuba. For example, Jean Boutet, the singer, the famous singer,
Mm.
grandmother from Cuba. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's a lot of connection.
Mm.
Cuba,
Interesting. And it still all comes back to Africa, though. Yeah. So
everything.
you're part of the diaspora. Everything still comes back to Africa, Caribbean, Afro-Cuban, African
every-
American, all comes back to Africa. That's the song. That my music has been always mostly about home, just trying to get people to connect back home. I believe that's my mission here in the Americas through what I do, my arts and my music. So by default, my music and the songs I've written is always talking about home, 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 connecting to home, and the latest release that was played in the intro of tonight's show was Find Your Way Back Home. Find your way back home. Even if it's not geographically, but at least spiritually, you connect through hearts to home. And this is another way of doing that by us being united in the diaspora, being united in thoughts, being united in word, being united in music. So the Village Rising community is doing a great job on that, and I thank them for that. Brother Luther, do you want to leave us with some encouraging words,
What, what,
to our
okay,
listeners?
I'd like to leave you. I know we all of us, we have music out there. So this is our latest record, Cuba to Congo Square. Alexi produced 2 songs on this record. It's on
Oh,
iTunes.
nice.
It's on iTunes. Get your record, get your record, go singer. So it's our plug time. So Look, we got it's on Spotify, everything, iTunes, everything.
Yeah.
This is
Oh wow.
this
Nice.
one. This
Nice
is
Congo
this is
Square.
up from Congo Square. Yeah, Alexa got that one. All right.
Mhm.
We got this one.
Wow.
We got it going on. Bamboo 2000. All right.
Wow.
We got the Wild Bamboolas. The Wild Bamboolas. Yeah.
Bambulas.
So we got
What does bambula mean? What does bambula mean?
Bambula. The word Bambula from the Congo means to honor our ancestors, to remember our ancestors. And so and the Bambula rhythm in New Orleans is the roots of the second line. So the rhythm of New Orleans, the second line, the Indians, the rhythm of New Orleans is the Bambula from the Congo. So
Wow.
so that's really the roots of New Orleans music comes out of the Congo. A
That's
lot, especially
beautiful.
the
I
rhythm, the
didn't know
rhythmic
that.
aspect.
I know New Orleans is synonymous with the whole second line marching band, but I never knew that it's connected. The roots is in Congo. So
Isn't
of
that
course,
something?
apparently that's
Yes,
why Congo Square is Congo Square.
that's
It's
right.
beautiful. It's all coming back together, full circle. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us tonight. I want to believe this won't be the last time. We have people thanking you also in the comments. Thank you, Baba Luther. Luther, thank you, Baba Lexi, for your profound and in-depth musical connections. Thank you for being great keepers of the music, keepers of the culture, ambassadors of the diaspora. Thank you for the work that you're doing, the healing work that you're doing. And I hope to meet you in person sometime soon in the nearest future.
Yes.
Probably collaborating with you, sharing a stage.
We will. We will.
That would be awesome.
We
Maybe
we
I
gotta make
come to
that
New
happen,
Orleans.
Alexi. We gotta bring her to New Orleans. Yeah.
I want to dance at Congo Square. I definitely, now is on my
Yeah.
bucket list. I want to come and dance at Congo
Oh.
Square.
All right. All right. We're gonna
Thank you
make that
so
happen.
much.
I'm gonna buy
Yes.
you. I'm gonna buy you a plane ticket. We're gonna get you over here. All
Yes.
right.
I've been there once before actually, but I was passing through. But I
Yeah.
didn't come. I went to. There's a place called the French
The
French
French,
Quarters.
the French Quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I walked. I was just walking the streets of New Orleans. I walked through the French Quarters, and that was it. But I need to come experience the people, the culture, the food, and I'm sure I'll be closer to Africa when I come there.
Yes. Yes.
I'll be closer to Africa when I come there. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you so much for your knowledge and the work that you're both doing. I'm grateful and looking forward to more from you. And Village Rising community, thank you for having us on the platform tonight. And y'all have a great evening. I guess you can always follow on Instagram. I think Alexi Marti on Instagram,
Yes.
Baba Luther on Instagram, and I am Tosinga on Instagram as well. On our Facebook pages, feel free to connect with us and check out the music and get the latest CD from Cuba to Congo Square. That's the name of the album. I'm
Yeah.
correct. And my latest release is called From Ode to Accra, Accra, the city in Ghana. Ode
Ooh.
to Accra. Yes, because I
I gotta
said for
get
the
that. I gotta get that. Yeah.
yeah, I visited for the first time early this year. Ghana, although I'm from Nigeria, Ghana is very close to my heart because I was surrounded growing up by Ghanaian teachers, and my closest friends were from there. So it has a special place in my heart. And it's not a surprise that Ghana is the first African country to officially have a return of a year of the return for African Americans. And now all the African American celebrities are going home, and I'm so excited about that. Stevie Wonder, so that's a delight to see. And my prayer is that more of my brothers and
Yes.
sisters will come home at least to visit. The sun hits different, please. Just come home and experience home. It will make a big difference in your soul. So I leave you with that message. Thank you all, and have a great evening. Bye.
All right.